So I'm here today to talk about Specialisterne, as in the Danish. I'm not Danish. I'm Peter Brabazon, which isn't a Danish name. It's a good Irish name, actually. But the big thing, I am an electrical engineer. I have a business background, but the real thing I want to talk to you about is the sort of route that my son is making currently, who, by the way, qualified in computer studies yesterday, final year from DCU. So this is a great day for me. So I manage Specialisterne in Ireland, and its vision for the world is to enable 1 million jobs. And that's, of course, Torkel Sunne's vision, the man who runs the foundation, as it's called. So really what we're trying to do is create meaningful job opportunities, like Liam referred to, in SAP and in other companies. And overall, though, to make society more accepting of people with autism. Because people with autism are a little bit different. And unlike, say, maybe earlier speakers that might talk about particular disabilities, I'd like to introduce some people with autism now who, what are they like, and actually what do they do? And I think this is an interesting one. So here we have 5 people with autism, some of whom you obviously recognize on the left-hand side, the first 4, from Daryl Hannah, Dan Aykroyd, Courtney Love, and of course Susan Boyle. Maybe some people suspect Susan Boyle, but the others maybe not. And interestingly enough, all of them are in the sort of area of public engagement and acting in that. Now, the last one, of course, is the different one. That's indeed Donald, and that is indeed an American, but it's not Mr. Trump, okay? Donald was actually the first person, that's Donald Triplett, to be diagnosed with autism effectively in the world. In other words, particularly with Asperger's, okay? And I'll come to that in a minute. But this slide, I think, is important, but it gets over this thing. It is an invisible disability we're talking about here, and these people have still been very successful with this disability. And good for us, they now talk about it, which is very important. So they've come out, or disclosed maybe is the better expression nowadays. So if we look at one of our people, that's Mark on the right-hand side. I have to thank SAP for giving him an excellent internship, but today he's working around the corner in NAMA, would you believe, on an extended contract. So the typical problems for an autistic person, the challenges are social tends to be. That's the reading social cues and that type of thing, reading body language. Being too literal, it's raining cats and dogs. Don't look up to see the cats and dogs, please. Some autistic people do. A person who worked for us was told in her project to go and take her own initiative, basically paddle your own canoe, and she said, she's now got a PhD, this lady. She said she hadn't got a boat. So you can imagine what it's like. So we live in a slightly different world, autistic people do, but we have skills, and that's what I'm going to come to in a minute. As Liam mentioned, we have, though, challenges about employment. So yes, CV preparation and all of that type of thing, but it starts a little bit earlier. Like everything, we should go back maybe to the sources, and early intervention is the key with autism. It's got much better in Ireland. Now really the early intervention is focusing on 3rd level, because most autistic people are going to 3rd level, would you believe, who are on our end of the spectrum. And so often they get poor qualifications because it's more social there, it's more ambiguous there, it's less defined. And a lot of them do not get a good internship, but we're glad that Mark did. And indeed, Mark, unlike some of the others, did do a pretty good degree as well down in the University of Limerick. That's one aspect, is getting a job. The other aspect is obviously keeping it. So possible challenges in work that we have are so-called sensory or environmental considerations. Too much noise. Nick's tracksuit, of course. That was a fun one. The gentleman who's the manager now, he has a problem with noise in the canteen, or should I call it the restaurant in SAP, and that type of thing. That's ongoing, and it's particularly important at the start, but then often anxiety then kicks in again when the job changes or the manager changes, because change is sometimes a big challenge. So, and what happens then is, if there is some challenge or something going on, they go down in terms of communicating with people, so we have to watch out for that. So we have a particular approach to all of this. So just to talk, though, about the abilities. What are you getting? You're getting maybe a third of all the people who are autistic in Ireland. That might be 100,000 on this island, okay? About a third of them are so-called Asperger's. They have average to high intelligence. I have one, I'd say he's average intelligence. He's a bit like any young man. He has difficulty in getting going in the morning and all that sort of stuff, and other prompts that he won't do various things for his mother. But otherwise, he's not too bad. I saw lovely pictures of dogs earlier on. The dog features in our life in a big way. He is the linking, I think, for all of us. And indeed, there's another program that's about dogs for autistic people. Brilliant program, particularly down in Cork. But they have high intelligence sometimes. They have a great attention to detail. I think this is really why Liam employs them, and often very good at error detection. Often, too, we have found, as we've met over 500 of them at this stage in our last 5 years, is that they have great empathy for people. They really are very good people if you wanted them to, say, work in a charity or something like that. Yes, they're very suitable for STEAM jobs, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Not all are pure techies, Rain Man type. Some of them are very good journalists. Some of them are very good actors, musicians, and that's what we have to remember. But you get loyal, honest, humorous people who are hardworking. Unfortunately, as Liam mentioned, though, a lot of them are unemployed. So the benefits are basically, for the autistic person, if you can employ one, you're going to transform their lives, because it's a way of their participating in society. That's as simple. It's very difficult to survive on 10,000 euros a year on benefits. From a business point of view, clearly you get talent. That's one thing that we really say. It's not necessarily CSR, it's more about the talents that you get. Yes, you have to make some accommodations, but they're not that big. Obviously, the state gets a big benefit, because you have people coming off benefits and going on to become taxpayers. A nice simple one in a way. And the benefit for the state from just getting one person off unemployment and into work over their lifetime, their working lifetime, is approximately €1 million. That's according to the London School of Economics. So it's big, big impact. And overall, for society, we are more diverse and inclusive. So it works. If anybody wants to talk to me some other time, I have given on my first slide our email address, our work website, so you can connect us, no problem at all. If you just look up that weird and wonderful word, Specialisterne, we're there. But fundamentally, we have a structured process. We work fundamentally, we're candidate-focused, candidate-centric, and the first thing is to identify people like Mark. And by the way, I can talk about Mark because he's now an advocate for us. He's been on websites and everything for us. And to get going on the applications that. We're quite well known in the autistic community, so we get a lot of referrals either from the HSE, other charities, or, interesting enough, the people themselves. Like Mark, the average age of our people are about 25. Why 25? I think it's because they've got out of college and didn't get the first job a lot of the time, and they are up in the back room creating things for themselves, gaming or whatever it is. We have a very detailed assessment phase, bit of psychological, obviously, to see what their fit is, but also more about what would be the skills that they need built up, particularly around the CV preparation, interview skills, and social etiquette in the workplace, that type of thing. But finally, it's the placement and support, like in a company like SAP, and that is about really finding out what they need, SAP, and matching our people to it, and supporting them then in that role. So, in the end, we have all of these lovely partners, and we would like you, perhaps, if you're employers, to come and support us, but ultimately, of course, please refer to your family or whoever. And finally, the dandelion is our symbol. Some people consider it a weed, but just like our people, in fact, it actually provides the nectar for the bees, the first off, at the start of the year. So we're saying a person of ability that's valued and nurtured is employed, but if they're not respected, nurtured, then they end up unemployed. So here we have, on our right-hand side, Patrick Brophy, another advocate for us, 5 years now in SAP, a full shareholder at this stage, may I say, gets paid better than me, and Dave, his buddy, on the left-hand side. We'd like you to come on our journey, to meet our mission and vision of 5,000 people enabled to be employed in 20 years. So far, we've got to 150. We have a long way to go, but I hope you can join us on that. So please refer us to your friends, or perhaps consider to be an employer. Thank you very much for your time.